good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, sir.
I hope you're well, Alaji.
Everything is okay, mashallah.
Mm. And it's great to have you on the line. I'm wondering, so your own analysis of the situation. We had this coach. We failed to qualify for the African Cup. Somehow he manages to qualify us for the World Cup. About 70 days away, we played two friendlies. One was a 5-1 loss, the other one a 2-1 loss. Next moment, we announced that we've gotten rid of the coach. Is it the right decision at the right time?
This is a question that one should not even ask. The point is that Otto Addo, his sack, in my view, is long overdue.
Long overdue.
Long overdue, because from the time that he was engaged, his second coming in 2024, let's set aside the Black Stars qualification to the World Cup. Let's set that one aside. On the African Football Parade, the platform is AFCON that justifies the good side of an African team, not the World Parade, as the World Cup stands to. Ideally, one would say that that is the biggest one. But I would say that you must be able to conquer home first, and you think of going to the other side. You lose in a fight in Accra, then you're anticipating to win a fight in Abidjan. That is a little bit of a suspect. Now, 2024 leading to today, and that decision of yesterday. I would say that he has been sacrificed by the young men, our guys, our GFA guys, just to, as they normally would do it. The coach is always the problem, but not the GFA themselves. It is like that because nobody sacked them, but they have the ability to sack. That is the irony and the funny side of the whole tale or the story. Why? Because Otto Addo, matches leading to the AFCON qualification was abysmal. 2 years nearly being a coach of the national team. Give me one version of 11 players that Otto Addo has maintained throughout his matches, be friendly or be tournament or be qualification matches. How many players has he called ever since the last time before the 2022 and then his second coming in 2024? One striking thing with Otto Addo. In fact, I must confess, during his play days, he was one player that I had so much loved. His working rate, Otto Addo's tirelessness, the way that he was just, but his coaching abilities, in fact, it's just only Ghana, I'm sorry to say that would tolerate. Yes, one people say that it's what is the name, a scout coach. That could be his, let's say, a versatile profile, and he's very good at it. But look at how he has employed the Blasters, using the money, using the Blasters, rather scouting for his personal clubs or other clubs that he introduces players to. How long does he sit in Ghana? I'm afraid if he knows Tamale, I'm afraid if he's been to Boga Park, I'm afraid if he knows what's the name, Bandu Park. Otto Addo always every day in Europe and run all over, including Ghanaian players who are even not featuring, not even the third division or even the division. He just go anywhere. Do you know the budget that goes into going to visit players and then going to look or perceive, going to look for players for Blasters? So these are the players that he looks for. And one thing that also one would ask, when Oliver Otto Addo loses a match, he was saying that his last interview that their attitude and how Ghanaians expect them to be remorseful, or their body language, as he put it, is something they have to work on. That is, it's craziness. You, the coach himself, listen to Otto Addo, of course, being very German-minded. We are also very German-minded, more than that. But you know you're dealing with African settings where people really get involved and emotional with, if not anything at all, called football and the results. Whenever Otto Addo is on the podium, and I wonder how the GFA tolerated him all this while. He always, all the time, me, I know he thinks in German, reflect it in English, and for that matter, in Ghanaian way of thinking. He insults all the time. He insults all the time. I don't really mind. The results is not the issue. That it could have been more. It could have been 1-0. How does Austria beat you 5-1? Though I was happy because being an Austrian. But then if Austria beats you 5-1, and you are saying that you are not looking into that match, and that result is not anything, it could have been 1-0 against them, they could have beaten us 1-0, and that is nothing, and it is this, it is that, and it is friendly, and then this. What players? Where are the how do we call it? Suleimana? Where are the pencils? Where are the Nuamas? How many players has he consistently used, built up, called the Ghana 11 players? And then when it comes to the match, actual, because we're talking about other social illustrations, but the real game is on the field. Look at Otto Addo's substitution. You remember that issue in 2022, when even his bench, one would say that was relatively okay. Look at what he did in Qatar. He doesn't care whatever that you say. He will not make a change. A coach that is losing a match, that has lost a match, down by 2 goals, Otto Addo brings his substitutes on the 93rd minute. Injury time, that is when he puts his players from the reserve bench to come on. And even you and I, one would say that we are not technical people as the coaches would say. But we have also the technical eye to reason. We are not foolish. Look at Otto Addo. You keep players against their own positions. You use players and say that, yes, in the case of Semenyo, he's a player that every child knows, every grandmother knows how his versatility is, how to work with, and how versatile he could be. Then you are telling me and telling Ghanaians that, no, this is a national team. We get the players very late. So they are used to certain game plan from their mother clubs or wherever they're coming from. And they don't get enough time, or we don't have enough time to train them. And they only come and do training exercise, which is shoot on. Nonsense. Who doesn't know this? Is that Ghana the only country that the players do assembly plant when they have to go for a match or during tournament? Then players are even called from their club. There had been time in this country that players come out from a camp, from Blasters, and the next day they are playing for their club, or vice versa. So at what point that it became a big deal to Otto Addo that, yes, the time the players arrive, they are coming with a different formation, different. You are a coach in Europe, for God's sake. You are a coach in Europe, for God's sake. One English club parades as many as 9 players from foreign countries and only 2 from England. And yet, during tournament, if they find one way or the other, 4 or 5 from 4 or 5 countries having those players, the whole team is emptied. Are you saying that the English teams, they don't feature? Or when they go to their clubs or their national teams, they don't feature? Look at, I mean, come on. We don't have players. We understand. Generation changes. We understand. The Asians, we can get them. The Venapias, we're not going to get them. We're not going to get Muntaris, etc. But in all fairness, relatively, we could have a little bit close to the one that we've had before. Yes, Ghana as a country, not different from any other country. We can cite Italy as a great example. Look at how they've descended low from the Martinis, Paolo Maldini's time till today. Roberto Baggio, their time up to today. Generation, you change. Luther Matthäus' days was not a German that we saw yesterday. Not notwithstanding, our own, the rate at which coaches have really destroyed and massacred the Ghana national team, that the GFA now wants us to hail them. We're not going to hail them. They're my good friends. We're not going to help them.
Mm.
They're my good friends. There's no credit for them for sacking Otto Addo. It's a template habit. Business as usual. Constant feature is what they exercise. The heat will be on. Let's pass the heat over. But they themselves must check themselves. It's unfair. The only happiness that we have, one would say, that football. Tell us that we are coaches. Yes, as Dobrev and almost every coach, Djokovic and all would say that Ghana, or what, everybody is a coach. Yes, we are coaches. That is why we spend our money to pay coaches better than a Bank of Ghana governor. That is why we pay Ghana coach more than the President of the Republic. His Excellency John Mama's salary does not come closer to Otto Addo. So we are not allowed to talk. It doesn't make any viable sense and realistic sense.
So for you, he should have been fired after we failed to qualify for the African Cup.
Even 2022, Otto Addo is supposed not to be called that, based on the kind of even argument he has regularly with the management themselves whenever they lose match. Whenever they are on a field, a management cannot just say anything. Look, let me tell you, on the flip side, I've been a management member of Accra House of Folk, a coach, House of Folk. You lie bad. And we are sitting on the VIP podium. If you decide not to change, we will effect the change from the bench, from the top. We will effect management. Yes, we did that.
Really? But you're not members of the technical team.
We were not. We don't need to. We have eyes. We have common sense. We know when a goal is scored. We know offside. We know offside trap. Were you in any technical school of sports for you to know that a player is offside? You yourself? When a goal is scored, are you telling me that you're not a technical person so you can't see unless the ball hits the net? Penalty, do we have to be told? We know they are coaches. We also know how to watch the match. Even coach, may God have mercy. This on you. So, Cecil Jones, undoubtedly the best coach House Folk has ever had. I took away a few. Even him, we subject him to pressure to do changes and to provide results. Coach Jotia Kenten, they've cried in the hands of House of Folk management. Ask him when we went to Cote d'Ivoire to play ASEC and we got lost, they beat us by 3 or something like that. We were coming from Abidjan on an aircraft. Well, there's Wonkul and they are there, ask them. And we were to go to Tunisia, the next match. Coach Cecil Jones had left House of Folk. He was with Liberty Professionals at that time as Liberty coach. This is how the management operates. We went to Liberty and sat down with our legislator that we have crisis. We are going to a trial, the Sahel, in Tunis. We're not going to lose that match because we'll be out of the tournament. That is a competition. House of Folk wants to go with Cecil. Did we not go and pick Cecil Jones? We want to pick him just for that match. We want to pick him. We've had situations that a match in Kumasi against Asante Kotoko. Cecil Jones tells the management that I can beat Kotoko with this team unless we are short by one player. Ask House of Folk management whether we are not aware of this. What does it mean? That you have to play 10 against 11. If a coach tells you that I want to play 10 against 11, wouldn't you have your heart broken? Wouldn't you have your heart broken?
He wants to play 10 players against 11 players of Kotoko.
But we've done that. He did that more than 3 times. We didn't understand his philosophy, so it has become something that's a soak. We always beat Kotoko when we have 10 against 11. It's also Jones who introduced that thing.
I see. But
yes,
having said that, because right now you're saying Otto Addo should be fired long ago. The GFA needs to take some of the blame. So what should we do next? Because now we need a coach that will take us to the World Cup. That will put together a team that can at least give up a respectable performance. What should we do next? What do you propose?
Well, nobody anticipates a respectable performance, but nobody also underrates a respectable performance, even including the bigger teams. Anybody who watched the match yesterday, others will say that, If this is a German team, then even the German, where we're watching the match, that's what the comments on the mouth of Ghanaians. That when they say German team, we cry. Please, let us not make a big mistake. German national team is built what is called Pokalmannschaft. Their national team, they call it Pokalmannschaft. What does it mean? A tournament team. For them, when they are playing whatever they we are seeing, that is a different thing. When they get to the Pokal, the tournament itself, they play their Pokalmannschaft. They play 120 minutes during their training. They are training tours. They don't play matches 90 minutes, unless a match like a national level. But when they travel to Japan, Argentina, etc., which you and I do not hear them, that is how they prepare the philosophy of the German. We call it the German way. They prepare them. Any match they are going to play outside, they play 120 minutes. And that is when they do their long drives. They didn't do that one even yesterday. So they just only tried that African team concentrate on midfield and interpositional and dribbling, etc. So let us try to do this because they have an African team in their distance. That's what they were trying to do. And let us try the players. But if in a real case scenario, Germans in their best, as they normally would do, did you see their crossings and long passes and that? They didn't do one. They did not do one. Long passes here, long passes there, crossing, flashing, crossing, hitting you. They would have bombarded. You see, yesterday they were doing the same African way, concentrating with us in the 18, trying to see and understand how maybe to beat an African team that is dribbling or that is a midfield concentrated and then penetrate. That's what they were doing. It was a training exercise. But when it comes to tournament, let's look at the same German team that you saw yesterday, a bit rusty. You see them in tournament. Is that the case of ours? No. You have deficiency and a problem with your goalkeeping area. We are aware. You don't have virtually exposed. Otto Addo has exposed us that we don't have defense. When Salisu is out, Jiku and Salisu combined very effectively and well. Unfortunately, Salisu is not there. Jiku, you could not see him too much because he tirelessly moved everywhere to cover the lapses maybe of the others. So he himself, you don't find him. Let's come to midfield. Kwesi, I'm surprised. But the two matches he played with Nigeria and those things in Ghana here, we thought that another Asian has arrived. But look at Kwesi. He was completely out of the game yesterday, in my view, with my eyes that I watched. The two matches, the Austrian one, the midfield, the Austrians made us a total nonsense use of our midfield. Yes, you may understand, Mr. Pate, a little bit. And let me call it, if I were to have a situation like him, like being in court, it's all psychological beat, psychological this and that works against him. Court today, court here, court today, court. And you look at even Pate. That is not the Pate that we know. Physically, mentally, that is not the Pate that you know. So you can understand that. Put everything aside. His age, he's not a small boy anymore. He's done at his best. He's played, contributed. But Kwesi who had come, Ghana is a midfield engine country. No matter how bad and rusty Ghana has the forwards, not our midfield, from time immemorial, from Papa Kon's time, from Adam Farmer's time, from Razak's time, from Abedi's time, from any generation, Akuno, etc., Ghana had always been there. We got at a point, 2014, 2010, 2014, when even we did bad in Brazil, our midfield was rated to be one of the best midfielders in the world. South Africa 2010, who were the best midfielders in the world?
Alagi, I understand the points you're making. I'm asking the way forward. Who do we pick? The way
forward is very simple. If you're afraid of dissolution of marriage, you never get a better wife. Regardless of whatever the time, if even in 10 days. Good nations, serious nations have sacked their coaches 3 days before tournament. And it shows all the time in the Champions League. You've been seeing that. A match, they sack a coach because there's another match coming. So the way forward is that. The same GFA, now back at them. Otto Addo is gone. Not discussions about him anymore. But the same GFA, let's look at how they come and then their criteria, how they will select another coach. Either a coach that they themselves also, in their view, nobody knows. There are coaches out there. At this time, you can even hire, rent, I'll use the word, to hire or rent or charter a coach for the World Cup. We don't have any chance to go and do anything better unless by this intervention of any miracle because of the players that we have now. And if any coach is to call any player, and it's not a coach that is known who knows Ghana, which players are you calling? And the way he has formatted the blasters, where do you even go and then poach the local coaches, local players, and infuse them? You still rely on those coaches that are on the list. Any new coach that you bring, he collects the last 6 matches or last 5 matches and look at the players and then look at the positions and then he calls the same players. That is why you find out that when you bring a new foreign coach, he calls the same team. It is a roll call of the existing list that the GFA gives him. And that is what you work on it. I've been a management member, so we know. We've employed coaches to House of Folk. And when they come, the Djukovic and those, Dobrev, those Bulgarians, when they come, they don't know anybody in Ghana. They don't know any player in Ghana. So they collect the last 5, 6 matches or 10 matches played and look at conducts. Where is this player? Where is this player? Where is that player? He calls the same of them. So any coach that you bring from outside, that is going to do. But then let's look at somebody who has a kind of a little mind about and a love for Ghana player. I would suggest that they should go and talk to Mourinho. After and hire him. He's used to African style of African game. And he knows combative African games and African players. He is out. His team, he is not going. He is not the one taking the Portuguese team to the World Cup. Because you don't have the time. So bring one coach, figure-headed coach, that the world can even have fears with the presence of his name and his picture, his face alone. They should not have a temporary coach only for that tournament. Then later in the future, they want to recruit for a coach. But if they will do as usual, bring any coach that we are giving him 2 years contract, we are giving him this. Any coach you are employing today, you are not at AFCON. You are not going for AFCON. The only coach there can your mandate is a World Cup. So World Cup, go and look at the better word to choose. I'm sorry to use the word. If even is a shower coach, let's go and pick. That's only for the tournament. So there are a good number of coaches out there whom the world knows. Mourinho is one. Those who love African and African soccer and bring them. That's one person to lead the team.
Only for the World
Let
Cup.
him reshape up. Sorry?
So we should hire a coach for the World Cup specifically.
Only for the World Cup.
But Mourinho...
You don't need any coach. You need only one coach, just only for the World Cup. A coach that the world knows. A coach that the world respects. A coach that the players would also respect. Papa, we don't need anybody.
Currently, Mourinho is the coach of Benfica. And secondly...
You don't get it. Benfica at the season is not playing any match. Everybody knows. Why? We other team employs them. If you care to know. Brazil, national team.
But that will cost us a lot of money, which we do not have.
A lot of money. Do you want to cost? Are you prepared to pay for losses? Are you prepared to pay for losses?
Losses.
Then we do not go. It's 1 month fiesta. So Mourinho, let him charge you 1 month. Is it not better? He's a Benfica. But Brazilian national team, whenever they are going for a tournament, they take European coaches as consultants and sit them and then guide them or write about them because they are playing tournament. Their biggest enemies or their biggest competitors are the Europeans. So they come to Europe. Some are English coaches, some are Italian coaches. They pick them. Brazilian national team have an agreement and pay them as only consulting partners in the spectators or consulting partners at the podium. Just only to give their report after every match, player by player. They do that. That is World Fiesta.
Okay.
We are not going to play World Cup and make sure that you want money, you are going to win. It's not the money. It's the grace. It's just only the dignity. It's just only the distance of it.
Okay. Alaji, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you extremely very well. That's my having me.
Alhaji Farouk Al Wahab is international sports consultant. Join us on the line. His proposal is that we should think about hiring a coach for the World Cup tournament. And his proposal is, why not speak to Mourinho? SM.
Mourinho, also say losses the abitia, but say papa so near yin twisika na yanko fa papa for only the World Cup. I feel koba no be wa be ye yape coach for Now you know, say, come on, dear. But Morino, dear, see, you to me say a bit here. But I understand his point. He say, we are prepared to pay for losses. So, to Addo Yapamui, Ubetia.
Yes.
But, oh, dear, when you're ready, say, Ubetis can be so their faculty, Papa.
Let me, if you are a certified electrical wiring professional, this is from the Energy Commission to you. It's about the certified electrical wiring professional examinations. The Energy Commission announces for the